caused by lithium-ion batteries.
The MTA is cracking down on bus riders who don't pay the fare. Officers were out along bus routes in Manhattan and the Bronx this morning checking for passengers who hadn't paid. Some were issued summonses. The MTA estimates about half of bus riders are not paying the fare, which is causing projected budget deficits since 25% of the transit agency's operating budget is based on fare revenue.
They're using our transportation system to get where they need to go. They're going shopping. They're going to the movies. They're going to get their hair done. They're doing all of the things that New York provides us, but they're not paying us.
Moving forward, the agency is warning riders that it will continue its crackdown using both uniformed and plainclothes officers.
Well, Mayor Adams taking a victory lap today, announcing his administration has now offered 3K seats to every family who applied on time. The mayor and city council members giving the public a progress report saying they've made good on the city's commitment to give every family who applied on time a seat for their child in 3K. But some families are saying there are still plenty of children who do not have a seat.
The city keeps saying parents who applied on time got a seat. No, they didn't. Every parent applied on time. It's the city that didn't get back to them on time.
Since the city's budget was announced and passed, the city says more than 1,500 additional 3K seats have been added in high-demand areas. Public school, by the way, of course, starts next week. An announcement from the City Department of Transportation about an expansion of its Open Streets program. The commissioner launching 71 open streets at schools around the city. That's a record. Officials say open streets near schools enhance safety for families during drop-offs and pickups and create new spaces for outdoor learning and play. To see if your school's involved, you can visit nyc.gov.
Well, it's an amazing story spanning more than 6,000 miles in 8 decades.
Two families forever linked by this flag, one here in the city, the other in Japan.
Plus, they're rejoicing at Rutgers after the Scarlet Knights win big in tonight's season opener, which has fans very optimistic about what lies ahead.
Watching the 10 o'clock news.
Now to an incredible story, nearly 80 years in the making, involving an American GI and the flag he brought home to New York after fighting in the Pacific during World War II.
It turns out that flag belonged to a Japanese soldier killed in action, and as Fox 5's Jennifer Williams shows us, it's now back with that man's family in Japan.
One New Yorker has helped to return a piece of history to its rightful owners nearly 80 years after World War II ended.
It would be prominently in one of the rooms of his house, and I would stare at it in fascination as a young child. And when my grandfather told me one day that it would be mine.
Scott Stein is the grandson of Bernard Stein, who fought in the Philippines. The flag in his possession covered with the signatures of loved ones.
The young man would carry it with him, and it was almost like he was bringing his homeland and his home with him.
Through the efforts of the Oban Society, a nonprofit organization co-founded by a wife and husband duo, the flag was traced back to its original owner in Japan 7 years after Stein first reached out. It belonged to Corporal Yukikazu Hiyama, who died just days after World War II ended.
As of 15 years of our work, over 600, we handed back to the family where it belonged.
They embraced that flag with the exact same emotion, the exact same sense of closure and reconciliation as American families feel when they receive the bones of their missing relatives.
The flag was recently presented to Tsukasa Hiyama, the 81-year-old son of the fallen soldier. It's the only memento he has of his father.
In Tottori Prefecture in Japan, the son of the soldier received, along with a full generation of the Bigui family, Hiyama family. It was a huge returning ceremony.
It was emotional. It felt good. I felt proud. The reaction of the families there to receive it, as opposed to it just sitting in my house as something that was my grandfather's, but it's something more powerful being returned.
Jennifer Williams, Fox 5 News.
Wow, such an incredible story. All right, for third time this week, NJ Transit commuters suffered through service disruptions. It started early this morning with nearly an hour delays in and out of Penn Station. Normal service didn't resume until the afternoon. Transit officials blamed today's problems on Amtrak signal issues in one of the Hudson River tunnels. Now, all these disruptions have taken place during the agency's fair holiday. All NJ Transit rides were free this week.
A woman who lives in Maspeth, Queens, called the city to report a rat problem in her neighborhood and ended up being fined. Last year, rats started coming onto Esther Dahlia's front yard from the city's sewer. A city tree's roots created a hole in the sidewalk and an excellent path for the rats to get to her yard. Months after Esther called 311 to complain, the city put in a new sidewalk, but the inspectors fined Esther for having rat holes in her yard, even though those holes were caused by rats coming out of the hole in the city sidewalk.
They should be embarrassed by all this notoriety, and that they should really reimburse me. I think it's only fair.
You don't punish people who call 311. You work with them. That means you educate.
Esther was fined $600 by the city. She also paid for her own exterminator. We reached out to the city, but they would not say if Esther would get her money back, only that they worked with residents to fight rats first by giving a warning and then a fine. All right. Well, let's talk some college football. And it was a good night for Rutgers and its season opener.
Well, turtles at a zoo in New Jersey appear to be okay after a lightning strike started a fire last night. Workers from the Essex County Turtleback Zoo rushed to save the animals, who are now getting care at a veterinary hospital. Among them is an endangered species. Officials say the rescue operation took several hours. The organization is now asking for donations for temporary tanks and supplies. Apparently, their enclosure caught on fire. So scary.
Yeah, I'm sure people will step up. All right, well, that does it for us tonight. If you missed any part of the 10 o'clock news, you can always catch an encore coming up at 11 on our free streaming app, Fox Local.
Just search Fox Local on your platform. Have a great night.